I am a massive fan of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. To this day, it's still one of the high water marks for pirate themes and ship combat. The freedom of sailing around, taking on enemy ships, and executing a perfect boarding is a mechanic I am always chasing. So when I first saw the demo for Windrose, I was interested, but honestly, it felt a little bit off to me initially. Once it hit early access and I started hearing great things from the community, I decided to bite the bullet and buy it. And I am incredibly glad I did. From the opening comic book style storytelling right after your boat gets struck down, to waking up on the first island and working your way through the tutorial, everything felt solid, fresh, and just straight up fun. The tutorial doesn't feel like a mindless slog where you're just spamming through text boxes to get to the real game. The pacing is right, and that feeling when you finally rescue your crew, repair your first ship, and sail out into the open ocean for the first time, that's rewarding. You start up some sea shanties, you're looking at the horizon. Those are the exact moments we look for in survival games. The moments that create actual core memories. It completely captured that old Black Flag magic for me. But the massive kicker here, I don't have to play it alone. Being able to experience this with a group of friends, progressing through a rewarding story and loop together, makes this game a true gem in the making. The real turning point for our group was reaching Tortuga. It's a fantastic hub filled with vendors that completely opens up the reputation grind. It suddenly gives you a concrete reason to go explore those points of interest, run quests, and hunt down enemy ships to take their loot. A lot of that success comes down to how the developers handled the economy. I'm a huge fan of the split dual currency system here. Having piastres perfectly tuned for your gear, ship upgrades, and progression unlocks, while keeping guineas specifically for cosmetics and new building pieces was a brilliant choice. It gives you distinct goals without muddying the progression loop. Now, for an early access launch, this game feels incredibly polished. I've put over 100 hours into the current 3 biome progression, and I honestly had a hard time putting it down. But when you live in a game for that long, you're going to develop a wish list. Luckily, ours is pretty short, and most of our complaints are minor. First up, we desperately need swappable action bars. Having to constantly manually swap your slots between building or farming tools and your actual combat gear is a friction point that an extra action bar would completely solve. Second is the bonfire radius. The building and decorations in Windrose are fantastic. It lets you create these genuinely lived-in, highly immersive spaces. But the current bonfire limit forces you to clutter your island with multiple fires just to extend the building zone for decorations. Letting us expand the size of a single bonfire would be a massive fix for builders. Next, give us the ability to place a bench or at the very least a bed inside the frigate or the brig. Being out at sea and having no way to skip or change the time of day from the ship is a major quality of life omission. On the flip side, I have to give massive credit to the devs for one specific feature. Building directly from container storage is native from day one. No mods required, no convoluted setups, it's just there. This should be standard in every survival game on the market, and it feels amazing here. While crafting from chests by default is awesome, it desperately needs a toggle switch. Having the ability to lock specific containers out of that global crafting pool would be a massive quality of life upgrade. When you're playing in a group, you need a way to stockpile rare resources outside your ship storage without them accidentally getting sucked into someone else's random crafting project. If there's anything specific you guys think needs to be added or tweaked, drop a comment down below. I'd love to know if your group is running into the same hurdles. Now we need to talk about the combat progression, specifically the bosses. And I have some very strong opinions here. Take the first boss, Thomas Richards. Mechanically, he's a fine introduction to the game's boss systems. You don't want the first wall to be so brutally hard that it discourages people from playing. But the actual fight is just incredibly boring and long-winded. Speaking strictly from a group play perspective, most of the boss health pools in this game feel way overtuned. It turns what should be an epic encounter into an endurance slog. However, the developers absolutely nailed it with the second boss, Israel Hands. Mechanically, this fight was fantastic. It had my heart pumping, the adrenaline going, and even though his health might still be a tad too high, the pacing never felt boring. You aren't just waiting for it to end, you are actively engaged in a lethal dance. Hands down, it's the best boss fight in the game right now. Then we hit the final early access boss, the High Priestess, the giant frog flower entity. And unfortunately, she falls right back into the Thomas Richards trap. The arena looks incredible, the visual design is top tier, and learning the weak spot mechanics feels great at first. But once you memorize the dance, the actual threat of death drops to 0, and you're just slowly watching a massive health bar tick down. By the time we got her to 75% health, my group was already just waiting for it to be over. As for the biomes themselves, stepping into the foothills after Richards was an amazing experience. The resource tier jump felt right, and the enemy design is a standout. The wolf AI is genuinely remarkable with how they stalk you and use active dodges. The goats, on the other hand, their ability to execute a heat-seeking, magical, 90-degree mid-air turn just to ram you is absolutely broken. The final biome, the swamp, is beautiful and well executed, but it does feel a little rushed toward the end, which makes sense since it's the current boundary of early access. Those final point of interest shrines where you just blindly hand over X amount of resource don't feel great or engaging to finish on. But look, despite those minor endgame gripes and boss health tuning issues, Windrose is an absolute triumph of an early access launch. The foundation is incredibly strong, and if the developers keep listening to feedback, this has the potential to be an absolute masterpiece. Our group is going to keep playing off camera, but for content we are mostly anchoring the fleet here. We've reached the current ceiling of the world, and I'd rather save the major streams for when the proposed Ashlands expansion drops in roughly 6 months. We have plenty of projects lined up, but Windrose has officially earned its spot on our radar. Huge thanks to Kazigo, Marcus, Kyle, Dread Mechanic, and my wife for surviving the seas with me. Until the Ashlands calls us back, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.